Hey guys, let's get into this book, guys. I am been doing a lot today, but I'm excited to talk about this book, and I will be doing a weekly vlog. So I will give you the rundown on my dress that I made. If you follow me on Instagram, you already saw that dress, and all the other stuff that I plan to do this week. So, The Streets by Petry. Let me tell you, this book was like so hyped up. There's so many discussion about this book. People always telling me I need to read it. I've seen it on my radar. I didn't know what it was about, and I'm glad I didn't, because the amount of mixed feelings I had about this book, that when it got to the end, I was like screaming. Literally, I screamed, because I was like, this author, brilliant, truly brilliant. Brilliant. This is a masterpiece. This is a book where when you think of the forward, when they talked about the fact that they didn't know how to categorize this book when it came out because of how it's written. You are getting different things in this book that kind of will get a reader to think. There's a 15 discussion questions at the end of this book that if you're in a book club, or if this is used for any other thing, you can have some really interesting conversation about this book. This book is set in a time in Harlem. It's written in the 40s, and it's set in a time in Harlem where life was rough. You have this apartment complex which represents the street, which represents everything that was happening at the time. We also represent war. We're going into World War II, and there's some people escaping the draft, and things that you learn, and things that people did not to go in. But you also are getting a point of view based on the black people struggling, black people trying to make it. And in this, you have black men oftentimes jobless, and you get that mental health that happens where they're hurt and feeling less than because of the fact that they can't provide for their family or even themselves. And women oftentimes becomes the brunt of all of that, whether it's their wife, whether it's the multiple women that they pick up, whatever it's the woman that they want and they can't have but they think they deserve. You get all of that in this, but then you also get the women who are oftentimes left to having to take care of themselves, or if they have a child. In this case, the main character, she has a child, and how she's going to provide for her child. And men oftentimes were the escape. The men were the backup plan of whether you're going to get the money from the man, or the man's going to provide a home for you. So you get different women in this, and how they choose to use the man or to get what they want. You have one who's willing to live with a person who don't want them, who treats them badly, but it's a shelter, and any means necessary to keep that shelter she was willing to do. You have another one who decided to use other women as means of making money, and also have her own scars and things that she's experienced. And oftentimes there's that good and bad, that's conflict in that particular woman. Then you also have the main character who was the wife and the husband, and helping providing for the husband, also the father who's also have issues. Ultimately, there's always somebody, particularly a man, who wants something from her. And it got to the point where emotionally it pretty much destroyed her. And in that mix, she has a son who has also become a prey, and experience things that can be conflicted. When you think of that whole idea of hearing your mother always talking about money, don't leave light on, money, don't do this, money, don't do that, money. But ultimately too, it's something that became an easy target for her and him. And because of that, things happen in this story that you felt sad, you felt frustrated at the characters, you felt you wanted more things to happen. But then it also has a realistic take on it, because ultimately there's so much a person can take. And when that meltdown happens and things were happening, I was screaming because I felt it. I felt like you understood why the character would do what the character did, and how the meltdown and the breakdown of her whole life, everything that she's ever experienced. and also not feeling any out. How do you get out of this? How do you solve this? And it boils down to all of that. There's so much you could get out of this story, and I think it depends on the person who reads it. Might find something else about this story, because there's so much stuff you can really dig if you really think about this book and kind of conversation that you can have. I would love to have read this book with a group, because I think it would be just an interesting conversation to have, and I love books that do that. Now, it is an open ending, and I think that time period, that's what a lot of authors did, so I was used to that, but I think some of the things in this I wanted more, only because it's just a part of me realize how much broken pieces, and how are we resolving some of that, where but I get it. I get it in a way that it's life, and especially that era, that things weren't fair, life wasn't fair, and decisions that anyone make can really change so much stuff in your life that you have no control over. But it's just fantastic. The writing, absolutely fantastic. Everything about this book is just amazing, and it was such when I think of the moments when I was frustrated, the author knew what she was doing, because it made sense, and it just made me realize why I was frustrated with this, and the build up she was giving me. It was like giving me a taste of little things that I wanted more of right away, but she was just like, no, we're going to put you on this ride, and when you get to the end, you're going to feel it. And that's how I felt about this book. Amazing, absolutely amazing. Pick it up, read it. Book club people, go ahead and sign this one up. You would never, you actually, anybody that dislikes this book, I would want to know why, because I've never heard anybody dislike this book. But if you did, let me know why. Besides, you're not a fan of open ending, because that's probably the only thing I could think of that somebody might say something. But it made sense. But other than that, this is a masterpiece. Read it. No ifs, ands, about it. So anyway, I'm going to end this. I'm going to do a few things out here real quick before the pollen kill me. And I am going to enjoy the rest of the day. It is a beautiful day. So, yeah, guys. So we're going to end this here. And, yeah, I'm loving that I'm able to do this and film outside. It's pretty cool. I didn't think I was going to do it earlier because people were out here, but a lot of people went back inside. But I'm going to enjoy the rest of this. And thanks for watching, and give me your input on this. And let me know if you read it, what you felt about it. Absolutely masterpiece. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.